Welcome to Round Glass. Thanks for joining me in this meditation on the 6 attitudes for inner peace. I'm Sarah Blackburn. Perhaps you have been around someone who really embodied generosity. There was probably a sense of freedom that they seem to carry around in that spirit of always giving. And a lot of times that sense of generosity isn't necessarily coming from a tendency to give money. Maybe they gave other things in their life, like their time or their friendship. In this session, we will look at the benefits of having this attitude of giving and how that can have a big impact on our mental well-being. And then from there, we'll be able to cultivate it in our daily life. So before we go into the details of it, I would love to hear from you. If you can share in the chat, when do you find it easy to give? And it doesn't necessarily have to be of your money or material value. Just when have you found it easy to give anything? Perhaps your time, your friendship, anything of that nature. I'd love if you can share that. And then while you're doing that, I'll share the program for this session. We are embarking on a 6-part series on different states of mind, different attitudes that we can cultivate that will have a big impact on our well-being and the world around us. And in this session, we are going to look at the first attitude, which is generosity, that tendency to give. And we'll look at why that would be so helpful for us. And by default, what that would do for the world around us and the people who are closest to us. Then we'll talk about how you can easily make it a part of your daily life in a conscious way. So that's the plan. And really quick, before we get into the meditation, I would love to hear from you what you shared as some of the ways that you find it easy to give. So thanks to everyone who shared in the chat. I see some people said, some of the things that they were able to give are time or money when they feel that there's time and money to give. So it's easy to share when we feel abundant. And I totally understand. Thanks so much for sharing that. Lastly, I see someone else who said it's easy to give a friendship when they're feeling disconnected. Wow, that's really, really special and such a nice response to that feeling of, okay, how can I correct this? How could I help someone else? So those are amazing. Thanks for sharing. And we'll talk about some of those things that you highlighted in preparing for the meditation. So with that, let's figure out why giving would be so beneficial for us. And I'd like you to think about some time in your life when you had an impulse to give and there was no hesitation, no strings attached. It might have happened easily with perhaps a child, or maybe you have a pet or some animals. But if you can remember that experience when you were with that child or that animal, there's a spontaneity to share what you have just to make them happy. And oftentimes, there's no expectation that that child or that animal is going to give something back to you. It's more just a willingness to share what you have when you see that it could possibly benefit them. And that flavor of giving is what we are going to cultivate in this meditation. Because when we really analyze that spontaneous desire to share what we have, the benefits are much, much bigger for our own mind than for the person who might be on the receiving end of it. If it helps them, that's awesome. But it has such a big imprint in our own heart and our own mind. And we're going to cultivate that feeling in three different ways in this meditation. So you can think of this as three different slices or flavors of this attitude of generosity. The first one is the tendency to give material things. And we'll spend a little bit of time thinking about all the ways that we can share what we have in the physical world. And I hope you'll be able to see that the implication on our mind is that it frees us up from an attachment or a clinging to the objects and the things that eventually, someday, we'll have to give up anyway. The second slice is attitude of giving protection, which may seem a little strange, but what I'll invite you to do in the meditation is to imagine being able to offer someone some relief from any fear or harm they might be experiencing, and what a gift that would be. And then the last flavor of generosity is giving of our wisdom. And by that, I simply mean all of the things that are not physical: our time, our friendship, our insights to live a better life. So, with that, let's go into the meditation and cultivate this sense of generosity and go through some of the practices in our mind that we can do so that we have that really strong in our heart. So get yourself set up for meditation. If you're sitting, get your physical body comfortable. Or if you're going to lie down, just be sure that you're in a position where you can maintain some alertness and not fall asleep. And if you are sitting, the most important thing is that you have your spine nice and alert. And then once you've got a posture that will support your meditation for the next 15 minutes, you can let your eyes fall closed and take a few deep breaths to transition out of whatever you were previously doing and into the meditation. And then check in with your body and see if there's any area where you could especially release some tension. Often it collects in our knees or our hips. So see if you can soften through the lower half of your body. And then we'll also hold a lot of tension in the back and the shoulders. So see if you can use your exhale to release those areas. And then soften through your face. Relax your forehead. Let your eyelids settle. Soften your jaw. And then begin to follow the sensations of air moving in and out of your body. And wherever the breath is most obvious, maybe it's in your abdomen or the chest, or perhaps the nose. Wherever you feel the breath most strongly, place your mind there. And we'll take a couple moments just following the breath. And now start to connect with that tendency or that feeling you had when you thought about those moments when it felt natural and easy to give to someone else. Maybe you remember a specific moment, a time when you were with someone you deeply love, a friend, a family member, maybe a partner or your children. It could even be a pet or an animal. But connect to that memory, or if nothing comes to mind, that feeling you've probably felt when you just wanted to share what you had so it could help someone else. And as you remember the feeling, start to carry that to the present moment and imagine what it would be like to give material things to the people you know. So you're welcome to imagine someone who inspires you to want to share. Maybe there's someone in your life currently, or maybe there's someone that you can imagine out in the world who might need your assistance. And then imagine, what are the things that you have that you could easily and happily share with them? And then take a couple moments to go through that act of giving in your mind with this other person. See yourself giving them exactly what they need right now. Now we'll move to someone who might not necessarily spark that impulse to give. Someone that challenges you, but who nonetheless could benefit from something you have. So take a moment to think through any material thing you could offer them. And then imagine how it would be to give even to those who might not spark that emotion in you immediately. And then notice what that may have brought up for you. Then let it go. And we will move into the second type of giving, which is giving protection. So starting with those that are easy to share and give to. Imagine someone perhaps close to you or that you can think of that might be struggling with some fear or might be longing for some protection. And then imagine how it would be to offer them the very thing they need to be relieved from that fear. And don't worry too much if you start thinking you don't have that thing or that capacity. Consider the possibility that you might be able to free someone's mind from fear in ways you're not necessarily aware of. And then continue to extend out this protection to someone you might not know who's out in the world and longing to feel safe. And expand this generosity out to them. And then lastly, we'll move to the third kind of giving, which is giving of your wisdom. And this encompasses all of the things you have that are not material or physical. Bring to mind those people that are easy to give to. And this time imagine sharing with them exactly what they need. No matter if it's in the form of your time, your understanding and insights. Maybe you give them companionship. And think through all of those things that are beyond physical objects that can be so beneficial to others. And imagine how sweet it is to share those things and see it help someone else. And then conjure up your deepest attitude of generosity. And imagine offering anything and everything out into the planet of beings who are in need. And remove any limitations of what you can and can't give. When it's your mind, you can imagine anything. So take a few moments on your own, cultivating that impulse to give to others. And see yourself sharing exactly what people need. And as you look out at those faces, the people you know and those you don't know, you see them receiving your gifts. They are full of appreciation, and what you've offered them actually helps. Now we'll close the meditation by dedicating any insight you may have gained in this practice, in this meditation, or any spark of sweetness from earlier in the day, the week, anytime recently. Dedicate that out in the world so that it's of benefit to you and someone else. Now reconnect to your present moment. Notice your environment, the sounds around you, the sensations and smells you're in contact with. Then in your own time, you can begin to come out of the meditation and open your eyes. Now that we've cultivated an attitude of generosity in this meditation, I hope you'll go out and try it in your world and really see the benefits on your mind and on those around you. So we still have a few minutes for any questions or comments that may have come up while we were doing that. I invite you to please share those in the chat. And while you're doing that, I will share with you a question that I often get when I share this meditation, which is that desire to want to give, but what to do when we don't know what would be the best thing to give. And how do we know what would be of benefit for someone? And what I tend to say to that is that so much of it has to do with our intention for giving. And that is really what will shift our mind. Whether or not it ultimately helps the other person is of a lesser importance to the impact it has on our mind. And then the next thing that I would just say is to go ahead and give something and recognize that you'll get better at it with time and it'll become more comfortable for you. Then something else is what to do when we want to give, but the thing that someone is asking for might actually hurt them. And that's such an important question because when it comes to ultimately helping others, if what we would give might cause them harm, then in that case, it's better not to give them the thing that they want. But if you can keep that generous spirit and share with them what will serve them more in the long run, then you are still keeping with that spirit of generosity, but doing a higher service for the person on the receiving end so that in the long run, they get what will actually be of benefit to them. So with that, I'll leave you with a little gem, a little nugget, which is simply to cultivate this attitude of generosity when you're going about your day and see the effects that it has on your mind. So if there's an opportunity to share something you have, watch your mind, go ahead and share it, and then see what happens. Just go for it. Okay, so that's all we have time for in this session. I hope you found something that you can take with you as a practice, and you can definitely check out my profile to watch previous sessions or to see when the next session in the series will be. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure meditating with you, and I look forward to seeing you the next time.